Hi, Katzcradul here. I was about to do something and thought I probably should make a video of it. Everybody for years has begged me to make a video like this and to tell them how to do it, and I've told people how to make my pot roast, and they always say it doesn't come out like mine, so I'm going to actually show them step by step how to do it. I just got through canning the last of my rhubarb. It's sitting here warm on the counter. Later I'll probably plant some okra, but right now I'm going to get my roast in the oven, and here's how we do it. I've got a pan here. You can see I set, and here's, you know how I always complain about my kitchen fluorescent light giving a yellow cast to everything. I've got some really professional lighting here I had my husband bring in from outside so that I can shine in my pot and get some good light so it's not yellow. Here's my pot. I usually try to use stainless steel and not aluminum, but this is my best roast pot, and it is aluminum. You can see it looks a little stained here because I boiled something in it, but it's a nice clean pot. I have it on almost high, and it is pretty screaming hot. Now here's what you do. You put about maybe 2 teaspoons of fat in your pot. I don't care what kind you use. I would have used oil. It's what I usually use, but I wasn't going to the back, truck it back there to get it when I had something up here. And I have a jar. I always keep my bacon drippings here. I usually just, this is a old mayonnaise jar. I just put a little piece of plastic on it, screw my lid on, keep that in the refrigerator. I save all of it. Don't write me or send me letters and tell me that bacon drippings are bad for you. They're just the best seasoning there is. This is a roast that I took out too late. It's pretty frozen on this side. That pan is screaming hot, and this is going to make a really loud sizzle when I put it in. So just get ready. Set one down and put the other one down. That's why you don't want too much grease in there. You don't want it to pop on you. You can see there's enough fat on this meat. This is a chuck roast, my absolutely favorite kind of roast. This marbling here will melt out. This I'll be able to cut out after it's done, but I'll be able, when the gravy gets done, I'll be able to skim any fat that comes to the surface off, and you'll see how that works. Like I said, now I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. The reason the pot is screaming hot is to sear that meat instantly, because I really don't want it sticking to the pot. I want it to really get a good sear on it. And you'll see when I turn it over, it's going to be very dark. You want to caramelize the surface of that meat, and then you're going to do the other side. If you put your fork in and you try to turn it and it's still sticking, it's not ready to be turned. So I'm going to come show you when I get ready to turn it. Alright, I'm ready to turn my meat. So here I'm going to, don't worry about poking it fork. Everybody tells you don't stick your meat with a fork. Don't worry about it in this. Here we go. We're going to turn it over. It's going to sizzle again really loud. Yeah, perfect. That's exactly how you want it to look, like a crispy piece of bacon. This one didn't get quite crispy over here. It's probably because it wasn't cut evenly, but that's exactly how you want it to look. Nice and really brown. So now I'm doing the other side, and then I'll come back and show you what's next. Alright, we're back in Katzcradul's fancy studio here. You can see my special lighting. Alright, turn the roast. Here's how it looks on the other side. I've checked it. It's perfect. That's exactly how you want it, dark brown. So now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to remove it to a platter. You can use a plate, whatever you want, just like that. Look how gorgeous that looks. Still tough as all get out because it's just a roast. It's not steak, but it looks beautiful. And there's been nothing on it, okay? I looked at that. That's a 2.5-pound roast, just for your information. Now, the pot is really hot. There are that is a little bit of fat left in the pot. I'm going to turn it down just slightly, and I'm going to try to match the amount of fat in the pot with flour. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to whisk it just a little bit with my metal whisk. I just want that flour, I need, very hot. The pot is very hot. I want to make a little more gravy than that, so I'm going to put just about maybe a teaspoon more fat in there. Now, if your roast yielded up a lot of fat, mine didn't, then you won't need to add any. But you want to be able to get about probably 2 tablespoons of flour in there. That's about what you're going to need. Like I said, this is really hot. Good. Now we'll take just a little bit more flour. If it's smoking hard, you need to turn it down just a little bit. At this point, you're not going to be able to get all of the brownness off the bottom of the pot, and don't worry about it. Just a tiny bit. I will not have put more than 2 tablespoons of flour in here, though. You want there just to be, there you go. You want the flour and the fat in the pan to make a paste. That's perfect. See how it looks like that? I was raised on the Texas Gulf Coast all of my life. In fact, I lived there till I was 40 years old, and then I moved to the Midwest. And so I grew up in Cajun country around the most awesome Cajun cooks, and I used to see them make a roux to start almost everything they make. That's how they get that dark Cajun gumbo and etouffee. It's by starting a roux. Now you can see this is getting brown. I take it to the color of peanut butter. So I got the brilliant idea one time. Their gravies are so good, and at that time I didn't make such a great roast. And I thought, what if I started my roast gravy by making a roux? See, it's almost to the color of peanut butter. You have to be careful, because if you take it too far and you burn that flour, then it's bitter, and you have to get rid of it. I'm almost there. You don't really want to see it smoking, but your fire or your flame needs to be on medium. And that's about good right there. Now what I do at this point is I add water. I probably add a couple of cups to start, because when it hits that pan, it's really going to sizzle. So stand back. Steam's going to come up. Maybe a cup and a half. Okay, and I'm just going to start whisking. That's going to start, and if you can see, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but if I whisk really quickly, it's picking up those bits. In fact, I'll tilt it in just a second. What I'm doing is stirring all those brown bits. They will not come off the bottom of the pan when you're making your roux, but they will after you add the water. And you just whisk it and whisk it. This is a great whisk. You can see it's kind of pointed on the end. It really does get in the corners of the pot. I like it. I paid a lot of money for it at a fancy cooking home party show thing, but you can probably get it somewhere else. All right, let me tilt it just a little bit so you can see how it's pulling. See how the pan looks clean there? See, here's some bits that haven't come off yet, but they will. That hot water that water that you put in there is getting hot, and it's melting the stuck-on bits, the delicious bits off. So I'm just going to stir it a little bit. I'm also going to turn my oven on right now at 350. There we go. It's going to get hot. I'm going to tilt it to see. Yep, just got it almost clean. See how it looks? All right, Paladin Prepper's videoing this for me, and he nodded. He said yes, he could see that it's clean. Okay, so at this point I'm through with the whisk. I'm going to add I'm not going to add my roast. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to put in right now. Here's what goes in. This is not an exact science. Make it like you like it. This is celery seed. A couple of 2 or 3 shakes. Worcestershire sauce. Couple of shakes. I don't overdo it on this. Just a couple. a good bit of cracked black pepper. Okay. I'm probably going to put in about a half teaspoon of paprika. That just gives your gravy a nice color. If you forget it, it's not a problem. Your gravy's going to look fine anyway. I put about a teaspoon of onion powder and about a teaspoon, turn my fire down just a little bit. I'm going to heat, I don't have a fire. And about a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm going to use, why is it going to look funny for a minute? I hope I can get my salt out of the cabinet. I'm going to use this salt today because it's probably what you have at your house, just some regular salt. I'm going to start with a teaspoon of salt. I will add more later after my meat gets done and I test it. I also knew an old German woman one time, and she cooked delicious meats, and they were always so tender. I asked her what her secret was. She said it's a cap full of vinegar. I put a cap full of vinegar in, and it can be apple cider vinegar. It can be regular distilled vinegar. I said it was through with my whisk. I think I'll use it one more time to whisk that around. Those are my seasonings. See the paprika already making it look yummy. The gravy's already thickening, but I don't worry about that so much because I'm going to add more water. Look how gorgeous that looks. And it smells wonderful. So now I'm going to add my browned piece of meat back to the pot. There it goes. Oh, look at it in that bed of gravy. I'm going to take my purified water, and I'm not letting any of that yumminess get away. Actually, that was water that was in my boiling pitcher, but that was purified water as well. And then here's what you do. You pour in water just up to the top of your roast. Just like that. Doesn't have to cover it. That's about right. Again, this is a 2.5 pound roast. And then I just move that water around a little bit like that. So you see the gravy's really loose right now. I've loosened it up with that water. Whoa, look how pretty that looks. Kind of this gorgeous caramel color. Okay. And now what happens is it goes, let me find my lid. I might clean this up just a tad right here so it doesn't get my lid dirty. Okay, and I'm going to put the lid on, and it's going to go for a long bake in the oven. I'm probably going to bake it about 2.5 hours. You have some options here. You could have transferred all this to your crock pot and let it cook on low all day. You could continue to cook it on top of the stove, but that is a flour-based gravy. You would have to attend it, and the chance of you having some of that gravy stick to the bottom of your pan are great. My favorite way to cook it is in my oven at 350. You could also put it in a dark colored metal pot and put it in your solar oven and let it cook all day just like you would a slow cooker. So here we go. It's going in the oven. Don't catch me telling imperfect because I am not presentable. And here we go. Into the oven. There's a couple little pieces of foil on the bottom of my oven. Disregard those. And there we go. That's as easy as it is. I'll show you when I bring it out and dish it up. The roast has just come out of the oven. Oh, and it looks beautiful. It cooked about 3 hours. Midway through, at about an hour and a half in, I turned it over, just so that the side that was on top would be sitting in the gravy. Looks great, and here's what we're going to do. I wish my friend Noreen was here, so to say I'm going to dish you up a plate because I know you're hungry. She does that so well. I love it whenever she says that. So I cooked a pot of rice. We're from Southeast Texas. We eat a lot of rice down there as opposed to as opposed to potatoes. Well, I'll make this one for preparation. She won't eat that much. I'm going to go in here and watch this. See that? Put that right on the rice for her. And I know she's hungry. She's been playing outside all day. Let's get a little bit of this good gravy. I want you to see this gravy. Look at this. Delicious. Could have been thinned out just a little bit. We were working in the yard, so I let it cook a little longer than I should have probably. And now we'll serve her up a broccoli spear. You want 1 or 2 broccolis, Miss Prepare?
2, please.
There you go. There's 2 little broccoli spears. Now I will tell you, anybody who has ever eaten this roast has said to me, without exception, that is the best roast I have ever tasted. What did you do? Now you know the secret. Down in Cajun country, if 2 Cajun women are talking to each other, and one of them would say, "Sha, man, that is a good roast. How do you make that roast?" The other one would say, "Well, girl, you got to start with a roux." And it's true. Everything they cook starts with a roux. But so does this roast. And I promise you, if you try it, you'll love it. If you do try it, send me a message and let me know what you think. Katzcradul.